Hey there everyone, what's up? Today I am here to talk about some more, I guess it's more pickups, but this is a themed pickup in that it's finally I've got myself a Dreamcast again. As some of you may remember from my Q&A when someone was asking me about the Dreamcast, I don't have one currently. I mean, I have one in the US, but I haven't had one in Japan for a long time. Since like when I first moved here, I had one, but when I moved to this apartment, however many years ago, I gave away a bunch of stuff. So, and the Dreamcast was one of those things, and I just never got another one since then, until now. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at the big ass pile of Dreamcast stuff I got. The Dreamcast here, there was the reason I got the Dreamcast besides wanting one. Was that there was this huge sale going on, and I know I've mentioned that I'm like a sucker for these sales, but this sale was really good in the sense that there were two separate sales going on, and one was like a time sale, so like during a certain time of day there was a sale going on, and then at the same time there was a sale where like if you bought well, a maximum of 15 games, you would get a discount off of that stuff. So I combined the sales, so I got whatever was on sale. Not all of these were on sale, but a chunk of them were on sale, and then I bought enough to get the biggest discount with the kind of group buy sale, I guess. So it ended up being really cheap to get a bunch of pretty good stuff. So we're going to talk about this in the kind of Dreamcast-ravaganza or whatever. But first, I did get a Dreamcast, so we'll talk about it because it was kind of funny. Well, here's the Dreamcast. I got a Dreamcast and a controller and a VMU and, all the hookups and everything. I didn't get it with a box. I didn't really care, actually. But and let me explain it a little bit more. I got this Dreamcast, and I was just like, well, I'll just get one without a box. I don't really care. I'm not like a huge system collector. I don't really care if the system is in the box, and like a lot of my systems are boxed. Virtually all of them are boxed. But recently I just figured, well, I don't even really care about the system. What is important for me is the games, and like the systems will break sometimes, and whatever. The system itself is not super important to me. So it's mostly functional. So I was just like, well, I'll just get whatever. Unboxed Dreamcast because it's cheaper, and it was cheaper. And originally the unboxed Dreamcast was about $20, and I ordered it, and it was, they sent me an email saying like, the Dreamcast you ordered is yellowed, so we'll give you money off. And I was like, well, hell, I don't care. And they were said it's really yellowed. Was that like extremely yellowed? And I was like, well, I don't care. It plays right. And they're like, yeah, it's fine, works fine. It's just yellowed. And I was expecting it to be like, I've seen some pretty awful Dreamcasts where they're like really yellowed, like the whole thing is yellowed on the top, like one half of the machine will be yellowed. And I was expecting that for this. And when I got it, if you can see this thing is like only slightly yellowed, like just on the edge here, and hilariously on the back. This is the only spot that's yellowed, and it's like just this half too. So this part and the adapter here is yellowed, and the small part on top, but everything else is like white. And I thought like, well, that's not even horrible because the yellowed part is like under my TV. You don't even see it. But again, even if the whole thing was yellow, I wouldn't even have cared because, like I said, the system itself is just functional for me. So the controller is fine, though. It's not yellowed at all. It looks pretty good. The VMU, I replaced the batteries today, and it had save files from 1999 on there. So yeah, and also another bonus was that when I ordered this, they said that the unit was one of the late unit Dreamcasts, so it wouldn't have been able to play CDRs, but apparently it's not, because when I opened it and looked at it, this is an initial Dreamcast. It's like a launch Dreamcast. So CDRs if I want to play them, I guess. Not that I have any, but maybe I'll put some emulators on there for whatever. Probably not that either. I probably won't even use it, but the option is there, I guess. So yeah, so I got the Dreamcast, and they did knock. Like I said, it was about $20. They knocked about, I I guess 30% off or something for that yellowing. So I paid like about $14 for the Dreamcast with the controller and all the hookups. Actually looked it up. Buying a separate Dreamcast without the hookups would have been more expensive than that. So it was fine for me. It was fine. But I did get a bunch of games. So, let's look at all these games that I got. And this is actually a good chunk of the stuff I want for the Dreamcast. I don't have a huge Dreamcast want list. There's a lot of stuff that is good on the Dreamcast that I won't rebuy because I have it in other locations now. Like almost all the fighters I have on other systems now. So it's just kind of like when I was in the US and I had my Dreamcast fighters, I had a ton. I had like pretty much everything Capcom released, and I'm not going to rebuy those because I have them on other systems now. So it's kind of useless. But I did buy a bunch of other stuff on the Dreamcast that I've either played before or haven't played yet. And some of them are recommendations from people and on YouTube, and some are just games that I found myself, and some are games that I've played and loved and just bought again. Speaking of that, the first game is, of course, something everybody who owns a Dreamcast must have, Shenmue. And Shenmue I actually bought originally when it came out, but this one is like a ultra special edition. Not really. It's not. It's just huge. It's got 3 discs. It's got, like, of course, the game itself, which is, a ton of discs, 3 discs, 4 discs in here. But it's got, the 3 game discs plus Shenmue Passport, which I don't know what it is. And we also has like the Shenmue jukebox. So this, Shenmue is something you pretty much have to have if you're a Dreamcast owner. So Shenmue. And then I went and got Sakura Taisen 3. I have Sakura Taisen 1 and 2 on the Saturn, so I didn't get those on the Dreamcast. But I got Sakura Taisen 3. Sakura Taisen series, if you don't know, is a strategy RPG with kind of dating sim elements. So it was like a phenomenon in Japan. Like, it was really, really popular, and not so much outside of Japan. But I got Sakura Wars 3 and, of course, Sakura Wars 4. And Sakura Wars 4 is kind of a rushed game. It's the kind of thing where, like, they announced the discontinuation of the Dreamcast and they just kind of rushed through to finish this. So the other games have a lot of chapters and story elements, and, like, Part 4 is like one giant chapter that just ties up loose ends. And it should just pretty much is like rushed together to finish the storyline for all the characters. And you'll see, like, there is actually a Sakura Wars 5. It's on the PS2 and the Wii, but it doesn't continue with the same characters. It starts a new story. And it's a pretty good game, but it would have been nice to have Sakura Wars 4 done properly. I mean, it's not that this is a bad game. It's a good game. It's just obviously, like, rushed a lot of points in there. And we've got some other stuff here. This is for all you Falcom fans out there. I got Sorcerian. Sorcerian is a Falcom game. It's weird because this game was on the Genesis or the Mega Drive and on the PC Engine and on PCs, and they ported it later on to the Dreamcast with like the same scenarios plus some extra scenarios. Like, there's a ton of ports of this game, and they all have like slightly different scenarios. So, but this is a 3D modeled Sorcerian, so who knows? It's kind of a weird little game. But it is made by Falcom, and it does do a couple things that I like. I haven't played much of it. I played all of these games for about a half an hour each. What I should have done is done like Playongo does and just take a video during that half hour I was playing each of these games, but I was too lazy to do that. So we've got Sorcerian, and it does let you create your own party, like Wizardry almost, but there's not a lot of choices, so you kind of end up with one of each type, essentially. It's like you can create it, but it's almost useless. But I did mention Playongo here, and if you don't know Playongo, you should visit his videos, because, you know, him and I are tentatively doing a podcast. We haven't in a while, but possibly it'll come back. But he does a ton of Dreamcast videos. I guess he has a complete Dreamcast collection for the US, and he's been importing a ton of Japanese stuff that he wants to play. So he does videos about Dreamcast stuff, and, you know, I watch all those videos, and sometimes I find stuff that looks interesting, so I just kind of put it on a list. But since I didn't have a Dreamcast, I didn't buy any of them. But, you know, now that I've remedied that, I bought a bunch of those games that I thought looked interesting. And the first one that was a Playongo recommendation, or at least something I got from Playongo's videos. I don't know how much he would recommend it, but I got July, and this is, you can see it's kind of a metallic blue cover here. But July is like a kind of suspense thriller visual novel with a kind of weird art style. That's about it. There's not really much more to say about it. It does look pretty interesting, and you know, I didn't play enough to really say like the story is great or anything. So yeah, it's a visual novel. That's a suspense story. That's about it. That's all I can tell you until I play through the rest of it. But it was a Playongo recommendation, or from his video. I don't know how much he recommends these. Another one from Playongo is, this is Web Mystery. Web Mystery, I forget the subtitle. I don't know. It's like, damn it. Yochimo Miru Neko, maybe? Oh yeah. Oh, okay, it's actually written in English. But Yochimo Miru Neko is something like the cat with prophetic dreams. I don't really know, but this is actually an FMV game, and you know, I'm not like Vampire Mike levels of loving FMV games, or Games of War levels of loving FMV games, but I like FMV games. There are a lot of FMV games that I really like. And seeing this one, I thought like, oh, that actually sounds pretty cool, and it does look pretty cool too. So I figured I'd probably want to play that if I had a Dreamcast. So one of the first games I got was this one, Web Mystery, and yeah, it is an FMV game. So that might turn a lot of people off right away, and the last one that was from Playongo's videos was a game I actually never heard about until seeing those videos from Playongo, and this is Black Matrix Advance. Black Matrix Advance is part of a series, actually. There is a it's either a remake or a sequel to Black Matrix. I'm not really sure. I haven't looked incredibly deeply into it, but I know there's also a sequel on the Black Matrix 2 on the PS2, so possibly this is just a remake of the original Black Matrix. But this is a strategy RPG that has like strong religious overtones, where there's like normal people, I guess, and then there's these kind of angels and demons that are in the world, I guess, and the demons have black wings, the angels have white wings, and the white-winged angels are kind of subjugated by the black-winged demons. It's really interesting so far. this is a series that like I could see myself really getting into. Like I'll probably pick up all the other ones in the series just because it seems really interesting so far. And if it keeps it up, I'll be pretty excited. It plays, it plays a bit like Final Fantasy Tactics, which is nice, and it actually looks pretty cool too. I mean, it's a nice looking Dreamcast game, and you have seemingly a lot of options. I hope there's. Uh, it seems like there should be more, but I haven't played enough, so I'm hoping that tons of stuff will unlock later on, and you'll get a ton more characters. It seems like that kind of game, but it is a strategy RPG and a pretty interesting one so far, with a pretty cool kind of world going on. So, Black Matrix Advance is something I think I have high hopes for. So, continuing on, we've got this is part 1 of Eldorado Gate, and Eldorado Gate is an RPG made by Capcom, and some of you may be looking at this recognizing the art style already. It's made by what's his face, Yoshitaka Amano, who did stuff for Final Fantasy, but he did the character illustrations for this game, and it is like a really nice looking 2D RPG. But this is it's a kind of thing Capcom was trying out on the Dreamcast, where it's an RPG with 12 heroes, and they're not in they're not all in the story, or some of them just make cameos, and there are 7 parts to this. So there's actually 7 discs for this game, and this is part 1 where you're playing as this guy. I forget his name. I don't remember. Gomezo or something. I'm guessing that Gomez. That's what it is. And he is one of the main characters in the game. And what happens is, like, you kind of go through the story, and then like in the second disc you meet some new characters, and there's a bit of crossover between the stories, and it just does that through all of the stories. And there's kind of probably an overarching one, but I haven't played them all. But I did play this originally way back in the day, but my Japanese was really bad at that point, so I couldn't really understand what was going on, and I didn't ever finish this series, but I don't really know what it was about either, because I couldn't understand most of it. So I figured I'd start it over again, because I remember it being fun, but I didn't know really what it was all about, so I never actually finished the whole series. And yeah, so I got the first one again, and played a little bit of it earlier today, and it's really nice looking. I think it's a pretty nicely animated 2D RPG, which is something that you didn't really see a ton of at the time the Dreamcast was out, and it is really nice. So I guess I'm gonna be into that eventually. It's not actually that long of a game. It's 7 parts, so, but each part isn't like a super long RPG, so I can probably get through them all. That's if I get the rest. It's like I said, it's 7 parts, but the final parts 6 and 7 are like expensive, and it's kind of rare. I mean, comparatively, so they're not super expensive. They're probably like $40 each, but like for $40 you could get part 1 through 5 and have a ton of money left over. So that's the kind of thing that you're looking at if you want to buy Eldorado Gate. But let's see. Next we've got one of my favorite puzzle games actually on the Dreamcast, and out of all the Dreamcast games I'm showing you here, this one is the one I probably put the most time in so far playing again. Once I put it in to start playing it, I couldn't stop playing it. So I'm not even really that good at this game, but it's Mr. Driller. Mr. Driller is a series. There's a bunch of these, and it was an arcade game, but it's fun. You're basically just drilling through the earth trying to get to 1,000 meters for the story mode, and that's it. You kind of drill through and hope you don't run out of air or get crushed by something. It's pretty simple, just get to the bottom. But it's hard to do, hard to get to the bottom. But the you know, the rules are simple, and it's a bright, colorful game. It's part of the kind of part of the Dig Dug series. Um, yeah, I think I played this for about 3 hours already. When most of the other stuff I played for about a half hour. So, Mr. Driller. You should get Mr. Driller. Actually, it's on a bunch of systems too. I didn't. I should say that even if you don't have a Dreamcast, I think you can get it on the Game Boy Advance or possibly PlayStation, or maybe it's on collection somewhere too. It's a pretty popular game. And another RPG for the Dreamcast that I think everybody recognizes as a Dreamcast RPG, Evolution. Evolution was a game that I had originally on the Dreamcast, and I don't remember a lot about it. I remember it being like okay, but I was getting to the point where I needed to find stuff to make the total to get the discount, and Evolution was one of those things that I remember being okay, but I don't remember a lot about. And I thought, well, whatever, I'll just get Evolution again. So, Evolution. And next we've got one of the fighters that I said I wasn't gonna buy, but I don't actually have this one somewhere else. Is the reason I bought it. That's Capcom versus SNK Millennium Fight 2000 Pro. And the difference between the Pro version, I think, is only that Joe Higashi and Dan are in it, as opposed that I don't think they're in the original. So that's about it. But this game is actually, this is a lot of fun. I really like the Capcom versus SNK games. Even SNK versus Capcom I like. But this one, pretty damn good. And, you know, I have the second one, so it kind of makes this one a little bit obsolete, but it's nice to have it anyway. The second one I have on the Xbox, so it's also on the Dreamcast, but I'm probably not gonna, I'm not gonna get it because I've got it on the Xbox. But continuing on, we've got Maken X. And Maken X is an Atlas game. It's kind of a first-person sword-slashing kind of adventure. I don't really know. I never played Maken X. I played Maken Shao on the PS2, but not Maken X on the Dreamcast. And, if you can probably recognize the artwork as the same as that for Persona 2 and 1, and a bunch of SMT stuff. So, I'll give Maken X a try. Next we've got one that this was one that I shouldn't have bought, I think, but I bought anyway, knowing it probably wasn't going to be good. I've never played it, but I've played others in the series, and I like them. But this is Langrisser Millennium, and Langrisser the series is a strategy RPG. And a pretty good one, actually. But Langrisser Millennium is kind of notorious in the sense that it's not like the other ones, and it's not made by the same people. It just kind of has the name, but it's not like any of the other ones, and it's also apparently not very good. I haven't really played a lot of it, so I'm not expecting much from it, and I don't expect it to be good, but I figured I should at least give it a try to see if it's as horrible as everybody says, or if they're just kind of like, it's not as good as the regular Langrisser games. And Langrisser, if you haven't heard of Langrisser, the series, there are a bunch. I think Langrisser 5 is the last one. I guess there's also Langrisser Millennium with a subtitle on the, maybe Wonder Swan, is it? That's actually a Langrisser kind of type game, like a strategy RPG. I think this is more action-based. But the Langrisser team, the people who actually made Langrisser, went on and took basically everything about the game and turned it into Growlancer. So if you're a fan of Growlancer, you'll probably like Langrisser. And Langrisser you can get originally on the Mega Drive, and then afterwards on the Saturn there's, I think, 3 and 4, and on the PCFX even there's a Langrisser game, so you got a lot of options there. Continuing on, we've got Grandia 2. This is the Grandia 2 special package, and what's special about it is that it comes with a little art book and soundtrack. So you can see here is the extra, the soundtrack, and this like attached inside is this like little character sketch and maps and things. It's got a bunch of stuff in there, but it's really short. It's like 10 pages, you know what I mean? So it's not like gonna set the world on fire, but you know, it's got a bunch of character sketches and things. It's pretty interesting. It's like what you want from an art book, although there's just, you know, not a lot of them, but you know, you can see. So Grandia 2, yeah, I have Grandia 1 on the Saturn, so Grandia 2 on the Dreamcast seems like a good idea. And yeah, actually, it's funny that this special package with the CD was almost the same price as the regular edition. So I think, and what happened was the special edition was on sale and the regular edition was not. So I think I ended up getting the special edition cheaper than the regular edition, which also is true for Sorceria. But the last game here, this was the most expensive one out of all of them, is Sega Gaga. And there's like 3 versions of Sega Gaga. They're all the same game, but there's like this super special edition, and then the special edition, and then the regular edition. And they were all like, one has a t-shirt and some pins and stuff, and one is in like a DVD case with some other stuff, and then I think there's another one in a box actually too. That's a smaller box that just has the pins and no t-shirt maybe. And then there's this one, which is like the one that they sold in shops afterwards. Like, it was originally mail order only, and you know, eventually they started selling it in shops, and that's this one. They're all pretty expensive though, but again, sale plus bonus discount for buying a ton of stuff, it ended up being pretty cheap. So yeah, Sega Gaga. This is a RPG / simulation running Sega, and it's got all types of wacky stuff in it. I know a lot of people know about this game, but this is another game that I kind of muddled through a long time ago, but you know, wasn't super proficient at Japanese at the time, so you know, I figured I really want to play it again and figure out a lot of the stuff that was going on that I didn't quite understand. So yep, Sega Gaga. That's the last of my Dreamcast pickups. So yeah, the Dreamcast is a great system, and the stuff there is the vast majority of the stuff that I'm interested in for the Dreamcast at the moment. I have a list. I mean, I have a big list of stuff. Had a big list of stuff, and most of that stuff was on there, but for remaining stuff, I don't have that much. Probably less than 10 games to finish off the stuff I'm interested in, unless Playongo gets on making more of those videos showing me stuff that I should buy that I never heard of or given any kind of attention to. So yeah, that's about it. There's my Dreamcast spectacular. It's not so spectacular. I mean, it's just like a normal pickups video, but Dreamcast theme. So Dreamcast fans, that was a treat for you. Otherwise, it's just another video of me sitting in front of a camera talking about stuff I bought. But yeah, that's about it. So I will see you guys next time.